Hey, how's everyone? Eh, Maybe 5 years ago, I picked up a book titled Anti-Fragile. I thought it was a great book at the time, but I've got it present because it just keeps coming back to me in terms of its insights at work as well as in my personal life. Um, the author argues in that book that the opposite of fragility is not robustness, or robustness being obviously the ability for a body or organism to withstand a destructive force, a stress. He reckons that the opposite of fragile is actually anti-fragile, which means that not only you withstand a destructive force or stress, but you actually thrive from it as a result of it. You become better, bigger, stronger. And he makes a number of analogies, I guess, across all areas of life, including our own bodies. He reckons that, we basically living in this Western world where we don't strain ourselves unless we want to go to the gym. We've got the worst backs, for example. We've got pretty bad postures. We have to go to the chiropractor, etc., etc. Whereas, if you go to certain villages in Africa, there are still people who are carrying seeds and concretes and bricks and whatever in their heads, putting a lot of stress on their bodies and their spines, but they've got the best posture, the healthiest back muscles and bones. And then he straight jumps into this analogy within the world of work. He talks about this person who's been at a bank and worked for 20 years in the same role, and suddenly this person is made redundant, and there is basically no one who will re-employ them because the skills are not up to date, the network hasn't been developed, etc., etc. And then the anti-fragile example in that particular analogy is one of the taxi driver, where he or she is just as good as the next ride, and when things are slow, they've got to go and deliver food or whatever, and if everything fails, they can just go and pick up a big truck and just make an interstate delivery. So there's always plans, there's always options for this person. So I wanted to bring this up because, like I said, it comes back to me from a work perspective and life perspective constantly, and I wanted to ask you, how fragile do you think your career is? How anti-fragile is it? And what can you do to make it more resistant to stress, to seeing yourself out of work, for example, right? And obviously there are a few things that intuitively will make sense to you, such as obviously learning new skills, staying up to date, developing your networks, having a side hustle, putting yourselves in a situation where you have to learn, pick these things, new things. All these things conducive to having plans, alternative plans. And I think that's what anti-fragility means in the world of work. Would love to hear your views, and as always, I hope that this is of use to you. What would you do? How anti-fragile is your career? See you soon. Bye.